Good morning and welcome to today's webinar for Esri's European Distributors. Today we'll be covering Point Duty's Esri connector for IBM i2 Analyst Notebook. Just before we kick off, I'd like to thank everybody for connected in today, and also a special thanks to Francisco Nobre of Esri for organising today's session. Much appreciated, Francisco. I'm Mike Summerfield, Point Duty's VP of Sales and Channel Partnerships, and I'm joined today by my colleagues Ash Johnson, our lead developer, Jordan Summerfield in technical support, who will be providing a demonstration of the Esri connector today, and Mike Marinos, based in our Tasmanian Development Centre. In the webinar today, we'll briefly cover the scope of the opportunity for Esri within IBM i2 Analyst Notebook's customer base, and the fact that it comprises essentially the same target demographic that Esri has for its own services, particularly in the area of national security and public safety. In our demonstration of Point Duty's Esri connector, we'll comment on its functionality and in comparison with IBM's legacy connector, cover how other Point Duty products can provide additional advantages for Esri and i2 users. That'll include some new functionality that we're just bringing to market. IBM, Esri, and Point Duty are a powerful combination. For this audience in particular, I don't have to reinforce Esri's position as a world leader in GIS. In fact, ArcGIS, as it says here in this quote, has become synonymous with GIS for many people. In the area of visual analysis tools, IBM i2 is the 800-pound gorilla. Here on the right, we can see that Analyst Notebook, the customer base, over 4,500 customers, and comprises most of the world's leading national security, defense, law enforcement, as well as leading banks and retailers. Point Duty's connector seamlessly connects these two product sets together to provide an even powerful solution for users. So where does Esri fit within the i2 ecosystem? Here we can see a slide of IBM's current flagship offering, EIA, Enterprise Insight Analysis. This schematic shows the architecture, which comprises Analyst Notebook, and a range of other associated solution components. Here in the notebook, you can see that the Esri plugin is a key component, connecting to an external ArcGIS server and services. As the alternative here, Point Duty as plugin takes this role within the architecture, and with the Point Duty connector, we can extend the range and scope of the Esri ArcGIS services that can be made available to i2 users from directly within the notebook. The other area where Point Duty fits is here, where via a range of plugin products, we can extend the functionality available directly within the notebook for i2 users. Just to contrast the relative positioning of Point Duty's Esri connector with IBM's legacy connector, this IBM slide summarizes the objectives for their legacy Esri connector: to provide simple geospatial analysis tasks, and also basic geospatial analysis. Our understanding from speaking with customers, as well as IBM and Esri folks, is that today there are a large number of current and prospective users of Analyst Notebook and Esri that are looking to access a much greater range of ArcGIS functionality than this. So our Point Duty connector has been built with a more ambitious objective to provide access to a full range of current ArcGIS functionality, for example, to include full access to ArcGIS Portal. Point Duty's product focus is provision of a range of innovative solutions that capture data from open source networks, or OSINT, which seamlessly integrate and add value to Analyst Notebook and the i2 ecosystem. This includes solutions that capture data from peer-to-peer networks, such as BitTorrent, from any web source, including websites, bulletin boards, forums, whether on the clear, deep, or dark web, as well as OSINT data capture from leading social networks. This is Point Duty's current product lineup, and I'll just touch on a couple of these products now, specifically those that add value to the broader Esri and i2 ecosystem. First product here is Snap, Social Analytics by Point Duty, captures data from leading social networks, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, with others coming shortly. The captured data can then be visualized within the i2 notebook, and we'll show Snap briefly to provide some context for our demonstration of the Esri connector. As mentioned, our Esri connector connects and links the i2 notebook to ArcGIS services and is further complemented by the use of our in-medias connectivity framework, which I'll touch on briefly as it's a key technology used within many of our product offerings and addresses some current connectivity issues and simplifies things for users wishing to access advanced functions such as federated search across multiple data sources. So in-medias connects data sources and applications. Simplistically, comprises of a server, data sources, applications, which are connected into the in-medias server via a connector. So in this instance, we connect an application into the server, here a data source into the server, and this application can now talk and send and receive data from this data source. When we want to add another data source, we add another connector to the server. This application can now access both data sources and so on. We can also add additional applications. Again, once we've added the connector into the server, other resources available to the in-medias architecture become available. Simplistic way to understand that is the process of connecting Snap and Analyst Notebook together. When we want to add another application, such as GIS, Esri, we build a connector. We use in-medias to help us in this process by building a connector. We can then access the Esri services. What we here, what we're showing is the Analyst Notebook frame. So this is the Analyst Notebook frame, and within it we're showing our snapped application, which is surfaced directly within the Analyst Notebook. Here's the Analyst Notebook chart with data taken from snapped and expanded, and then placed on the Esri map. And whilst all three applications come from different organizations with no prior knowledge of each other, the applications act together as if they're part of a fully integrated suite. I'll mention one other component of the Immedius architecture, which is the Immedius client, which is a plugin for Analyst Notebook, enabling full access to the range of functionality within the Immedius framework. For example, federated search, rules engine, authentication and auditing, and so forth. As we progress with the demonstration of the connector, you'll see how these come into play. Here's a simplified schematic of the way that we connect into the Esri world. As you can see here, we have the Immedius GIS, and we can connect through to ArcGIS Online, as well as on-premise options such as Arc Server and Portal. Here we integrate the Analyst Notebook into the Esri world. We're talking about Immedius. The addition of Immedius now enables us as well to connect external data sources such as the IBM data repositories, iAnalyze, EIA repositories, data warehouse, and so forth. And in fact, any external connected data source. The Esri connector is a plugin to Analyst Notebook and surfaces within the notebook. Functionality is accessed via the drop-down toolbox. For example, here we show dynamic maps, portal, CSV layer, and other functionality, and we'll be demonstrating that momentarily. In the demonstration, we'll show you a few features. For example, as we've just been talking about, connecting data sources. In this instance, we're connecting to our SNAP data source, which is on a SQL-based database. In order to access that, we just click on the toolbox, select data sources, and then various parameters to connect into to connect to Esri services. Once we've connected to a data source, in this example, we've brought down some information, expanded on the chart, selected any geotagged information, and added it to the chart. There's a persistent link between the chart and the map, and data can be taken from the chart, put onto the map, click on the map, and it will identify that element on the chart. And we can iterate between the chart and the map to find out more information. One of the prime motivators in initially building our Esri connector was the requirement to add access to Esri portals. So that's a key area we'll be touching on, and I've got a little update on our functionality in respect of the portal in a moment. One of the functionalities that use of the Immedius framework enables us to do is to very simply bring in external data sources, as mentioned. In this example, we draw an area on the map. Then we can go and search on the database for any information on any entities that we may have in that particular area. We can then bring them onto the map. In this instance, we brought them onto the map, then added them into the chart. Again, we can then iterate looking for link analysis between the map and the chart. Quick update here. Very pleased to inform the group today that in response to a particular request from some of our Esri friends, we are expanding the scope of our portal connectivity to enable not only our ability to retrieve information and maps from portal, but now also to save back any data on the map back to the Esri portal. So when we've done some investigation and we've got link analysis data, we can save that now directly back to the portal, obviously, so that users can share that with others that are connected to the Esri services. On the right-hand side here, we're also expanding the scope, our ability to connect into the i2 ecosystem. So now we have a very simple means of connecting directly to connected data repositories and can save and retrieve geospatial data directly from those repositories. Prior to this, it was slightly convoluted, but now we've simplified that. So now I'd like to pass over to Jordan, who will be providing the actual live demonstration of the Esri Point Duty Esri connector connected to Esri services. Over to you, Jordan.
Thanks, Mike. As most of the data you'll see during today's demo is social media related, collected by Snapped, I thought I'd provide you a real quick overview of what Snapped is. So Snapped was developed to collect open source intelligence from the leading social media networks, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And Snapped allows the users to browse and collect on information from persons of interest, groups, and also pages. Within this data lies a lot of spatial data, and using i2 Analyst Notebook, we can visualize this data both on the chart and also using the Point Duty Esri connector. So if I just go ahead and select myself from our jobs panel on the left-hand side, it can send me directly over to A and B, and I'll appear on the chart. So there I am. So I just got some basic profile information with some attributes added, like my hometown and current city. So that's an example of spatial data that's being collected. But if we want to visualize more data on me, we can go ahead and run an expand query to visualize my friends and who I'm connected to on social media, and also so we can then begin to visualize their location on a map as well. So here we've got a data set, we've got people that are connected to me with their current city, hometown, for example, listed as an attribute. If we go out and let's say we were interested in pulling out just information relating to geotagged information or check-ins, traveling information such as that, we can actually use a filter on the data that we have. So if we go ahead, select that, click expand, it's going to run a query against all our data to just find anything that has latitude, longitude information on it that we can map onto our Esri map. So once that's done, we can visualize it a little easier. So if we were to just click on one of these points, go in, and we could see, so Bristol, so people's hometowns living in city, for example. You'll see more of that information once we plot it. So we can now visualize all these data points and connections and links actually on our map. So if we go ahead to our maps area, click map, we get a few options when sending over the data. We can send the links, so people who are connected to each other, if they're friends, etc. We can also select the kilometers or miles for distance wise, cluster entities, so to not make it look as messy. We can also, once mapped, we can also reduce the icon size on the map. So if we go ahead, click send items, we can send 649 items over, and what it will now do is query the ArcGIS online portal and begin to map our data points onto our map. Okay, there we go. So as we can see some links stretching across from our data in Australia. If we zoom in, it reveals more links and also more data points. If we zoom in further, we'll probably find myself soon. So if we go ahead and turn off the cluster entities, we can see myself, Jordan in the middle, and we've got links coming out from me to people I'm connected to. As you can see in Sydney, Nick here, for example, also connected to me, and you can see all that links. If we zoom out a bit, it's a little easier to see. So what are the benefits of the Point Duty Esri connector is the ability to map large amounts of data onto the map in a quick and efficient period of time. So we also have another way of going about trying to find information on our map. So if I just clear this chart, so we've developed a new functionality within our Esri connector with the ability to define a unique geospatial area using a shape and running a query to find data points inside that selected shape. So we've got a couple of databases here that we've got connected with some social media data, and we're going to go ahead and define an area now, and I'll show you what I mean. So we just create a new chart just for the purposes of this. So we'll just use the Middle East for example. So we can going to draw a rectangle in this area. So if we double click, if we select this area, we select the area by clicking on it again, and we can do now query data source. So if we do that, we can query that against our social media data points. So we've got a few hits in this area. So now we can send these features over to the Analyst Notebook chart. So here we've got some latitude, longitude information with some data points. So what we can actually now do is if we select them on our chart, we can then go ahead and expand details to reveal the connections to these actual points. So whilst it does that, so what it's going to do is if it's going to find any individuals that are connected to these points, so like what's maybe it's like a school or a hometown of someone, we're going to be able to visualize that now. So if we zoom in now, if I just click on this one, so Beirut for example, we find we've got these individuals that are from this area that have made this as their hometown location. We're also pulled out some wall posts or like comments posted from this location in Lebanon. So if we wanted to, we could reveal some more information. We could then select all, do another expand details and reveal more information. This will sort of bury down and get links to maybe workplaces or home schools, people who are friends, for example. So as you can see, we've pulled a bunch more data in, and now what we can do is once we've got this data and we've gotten it, so you can see that we found connections within our data points that we've discovered. So if we now go ahead, if I just clear these drawings first on our chart, so just click X to remove the layer. We can then right click on the data points, send to Esri, and we're going to be able to now visualize our data points that we found and see the connections between them and the rest of the world. So take a few seconds. Again, it's connecting to an online portal to run queries against location areas, so it does take some time. There we go. So we zoom out a bit, you can already see, links between this area, Southeast Asia, and also, so if I just, it's a lot easier if we turn off the cluster entities. It's easier to see the links across the world. So we'll see that people in this area are also linked over here in Australia, that their hometown may be from this particular country, but they're now living in Sydney, for example. If we zoom in here, we've got different, so a school, for example, and also businesses. If we zoom in further, we can find an individual as well. If you notice, the actual attributes are listed underneath the individual inside our Esri connector. If you hover over it, you can actually see the attributes that are connected to it. So a Facebook URL here, as well as the longitude, latitude information of Sydney. So yeah, and what we're looking to looking forward on our roadmap will be the ability to actually save these links and this data on this map as like a layer feature, which can then be shared across a network or enterprise that's using Esri. So other analysts can also go ahead and just open up this map and look at it and then make their own alterations or do their own analysis on the data. That's something that is currently on the roadmap for us. Moving forward, another key feature of the PointJudy Esri connector is the ability to configure and connect to Esri portals directly within i2 Analyst Notebook without the need to edit the config files externally. So within the PointJudy Esri connector options here, down the bottom we have new connection. Here you can enter a name, you enter the URL of your portal, and also set up the correct authentication settings for your particular portal. If you notice, we actually have inbuilt the free ArcGIS Online server into the current plugin. So you still have an option to search across the default portal as well, and then you could sign in to your own portal up in the top right hand corner here. You could sign in with credentials and then search across your own enterprise portal. If we go ahead, just for an example, we can search the portal for a map. In this case, choose terrorist incidents.
This map that we selected, so grayscale, and these are our data points that are being put onto the map for us. Again, mentioning layer manipulation, or if you are interested in like sort of the legend of the map that you have, so different religions and different controlled areas. If you're interested in just incidents, you could get rid of those layers, as well as the base map, for example. You still have your data points. Zoom into a particular area, maybe Yemen, for example. Got our different data points, so incidents that have occurred with some information on them. You could then select them by holding Control and clicking on the points of data that you want sent over, You can see they're highlighted. If you right-click, we have Send Features to Analyst Notebook. The features are sent over. You could click on them if you're interested in going to the different ones. So by clicking on your chart, you go straight to it on the map. And now you can begin to bring in your other data sources and compare it and then plot back onto the map, similar to what we've shown you before. That's pretty much the straightforward functionality. It's very easy to add portals. You don't have to go into the back end and edit the config file that you needed to do with the current i2 Esri maps in the 9.05 i2 edition or the legacy one. It's all inbuilt into i2, so you can easily add and remove portals very easily. Moving on, as we're of time, new chart. Got an existing chart. Just wanted to show our sort of geocoding that we've inbuilt, which isn't really. You need a special geocoding server, a URL, into the other IBM legacy Esri connectors. So here we've got two entities with attributes: one, an address, and two, a latitude, longitude. If we right-click that entity, we can map chart items. We can do resolve coordinates to find the long and lat of this address. Do that. It's added as an attribute to the entity. Same with the victim over here. If we map chart items, we can resolve the address from a long and lat. If we were interested, we could then link these two. We could then select them, send them to Esri. So here they are. If you wanted to, you could zoom. So we've got a victim and a suspect. If we selected them both, you could do calculate viewshed on one of them in different areas. So in a military setup, if you're looking for a particular firing range, you could have a viewshed. If we select them both, we can find a route between both of them. This is where it's going to ask for your token, which I have. Just log into my account. And the link is revealed. If we wanted to get rid of this link that we've added, we could delete that, and it's updated onto the map immediately. Anything that you change on the chart, it was updated onto the map almost immediately. Mike showed earlier our ability to add WMS, so web map services and web map tile services. So under our data sources layer, we've got some weather layers that we've added in. It's pretty simple to add one in. Select which one it is, enter the URL. You can name it. If there's a particular credentials you need to enter in as well for an authentication, you can do that as well. So in this case, we'll choose precipitation over the US in the last 72 hours, I believe. I think there's multiple layers. So if you were interested in the last 48 hours, for example, you could select just that to show, and it's updated onto your map as well. And also, as you can see, we can then also connect to databases, and so connecting to your database and then edit the collections that you wish to pull out to be able to be searched upon over your your map when you run a shape query. I think that's pretty much it, Mike. Probably have some questions now. I can see there's a few coming up in the chat. Ash, did I miss anything, or I think I covered everything that we wanted to discuss?
Not sure. Did we show the dynamic map layers and things like that? May not have.
No,
That's more legacy, like from Arc Server. Actually, I server.
So yeah, dynamic map layers. So earthquakes from last 7 days. Got a few of the ones that are freely available on the ArcGIS server. So here we just select the map, select the dynamic map. It's added onto your chart immediately. Other things, you can also do like a heat map as well. So if we were interested, again, for the last 7 days, so we can see up here, up in Poland, there's been quite a few earthquakes. You can see heat maps of that as well. So that could be, obviously over in the San Andreas Fault, there's always a lot of miniature earthquakes going on there. So there's always a hotbed. But, you know, depending on what portal you're connected to, maybe you have a dynamic map for incidents occurring within the battlefield, that kind of stuff, or within your city if you're a police force. So you can see heat maps, so you can see maybe like increased crime areas where more and more incidents are occurring. So it gives you a real quick way of visualizing your data in a heat map area. Yeah. Do we want to get to Q&A? Yep.
There was actually a couple of questions that just came in that might be handy to just cover there. I just posted them to Skype for you.
Okay.
How do we get the IBM chart data from the I2 map back into Portal so that everyone can see it? I think that's where we
so
save that.
That's something that, yeah, we're looking to, that's what it's currently on the roadmap.
Yeah, maybe
to be built.
Maybe Ash could just cover that.
Yeah. So some more details on that. The where that is currently in development at the moment. The ability to export your current map as you've outlined it. You know, you've added items from the chart onto the map. You've brought in data from feature layers or from other sources, KML, CSVs, you know, etc. You brought them onto your map view, and what we'll add is the ability to then save that back to your portal, so it can be shared with other users on your portal or on ArcGIS Online. Also, that they can then derive their own work from that as well. So it might be a great starting point if someone has a you know, for example, if you've got a jurisdiction where it may be not the metro, like right in the city, but it might be not the state. So there might be an area outside of that. So you can put in a starting point that everyone can use, and then they can go log into their portal. They can connect to the portal from inside the Esri plugin, and then they can use that as a starting point, and then make changes to it as they see fit. So yeah, that's still on its way. Just going through some of these other questions. So, actually, map view back in the border. So I think that does that cover that question?
Yeah, I think
Mark.
There was another one with respect to find route. I think Geordie could probably address that.
Yeah, I think Sorry, go ahead, Ash.
So you showed that, right, George? So
yeah, I think I addressed that. Yeah.
I guess to just go into some more detail on the routing. So that is using on online web services from Esri to do the routing. So what Jordan logged into was with his ArcGIS Online account in order to consume credits and whatnot. So that's something for you Esri folk, that the routing and the geocoding, or a few of those other services use the ArcGIS Online account to bill for credits and whatnot. So yep. Also, yeah. So this is the demo that kind of this has got like built in this kind of like the base maps, and some of it's also had the feature layers and dynamic maps from the sample server. But that could be somewhere you can enter in whichever services you want to connect to in that options pane as well, and that's true. So for routing servers, if someone's got a local routing server within their for example in their top secret environment, or on premises that due to policy they can't connect to your online service, and they can configure that to be a local one. And do routing locally.
Okay, so yeah. So first of all, I apologise if I've been tapping away on my keyboard here with my microphone on. So that wasn't too annoying for everybody. We've got a few other questions. We've got about 5 minutes. I just Francisco, we've got a few minutes. I've got a couple of questions I could respond to now. We had a question. Yeah, so we're good for a few minutes yet?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, I had a question about Snapped. Do we plan additional social networks like VK, Google+? VK, I'd say, would be the next social network that we would add. Always dangerous saying that when I've got Ash on the call, but I think that would be fair enough, Ash. VK is something on your roadmap.
We have started development on that, VK as well. We're exploring others, Google+, obviously. Also OK, the other Russian Twitter-like
and the
one as well, and Weibo, the
Chinese one.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. There was a question about if customers not interested in the social data analysis, what does he need in order to use Analyst Notebook and Esri Portal? The question, what's needed? All that's required is the Esri plugin itself. So that's the connector that plugs into Analyst Notebook and then connects to Esri. It's a standalone product. They don't need any other products from Point Duty. We'd like to think that if they like the plugin, they'd look at our other products. But all you need to do for your customers is get them to acquire the plugin, and then they can access the information. If they want to do some of the advanced stuff we've showed, like sort of geofence inquiry back to databases, then they'll need a way of accessing that, and that's where our Medius product comes in. But the basic requirement is just the plugin. We had another question. Oh, sorry?
Yeah, sorry about that. I think we need to cut you guys short.
No problem.
It's 10:31. To everyone, all the other questions will be answered shortly via email. So Point Duty will be answering those questions and put in the document that I will share with everyone. Everyone, thank you for attending, and Point Duty for doing this webinar. Mike, you want to close up?
Oh, okay, well, I'll just again say thank you, Francisco, for organising it. We will follow up with any questions and any subsequent ones that you might pass on to us through Francisco. We'd be delighted to answer them, and also to engage with any of you that are interested in learning more and would like to chat with us. Please do contact us.